Peace, love, and divine light. I hope the sun is shining wherever you are and you're living in your greatest purpose. Thank you for your likes, comment, shares, and subscribes. Thank you to all who have book personal readings, all the channel members, new subscribers. Shout out to the new subscribers as well as the members, those who continue to share the videos, like the videos. So shout out to you who continue to support this channel in any way possible. Thank you. Your efforts do not go unnoticed. There is a message that I have for you. Actually, I've been getting a lot of messages. I've been getting a lot of downloads recently regarding what to speak on. And I just have to kind of hone in to see, which one we're going to talk about. Hey, everyone. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Thank you for joining the live. It's good to see y'all. Been really, really busy with some things, so I haven't been able to come on the live. I always enjoy definitely joining, coming on here and seeing everyone's comments, our interactions. So definitely share the live if you have the capability. I'm going to see if actually I did share it. Okay, I think I shared it already, but I may have shared it again. Hey, Melinda from California. Susan from South Florida. Who else? Behind the Veil. I think I saw Jem Davy. Hey, how are you? Behind the Veil. Good to see you. So if you're able to, like the live so that way other people are able to see the live, because the more you like or share the live, there's other people that get to see it as well. Y'all know the algorithm, the way the algorithm goes. Okay, so I received a message among a lot of other messages received, and I'm just going to get comfortable here. If you would allow me to get in my yoga position, my meditation position. Okay, so actually this feels quite, this feels quite nice to sit like this. Okay, so I received a message regarding soul tribes. Okay. Soul tribes, and my spirit guides have been dealing, just with certain messages regarding relationships. Okay, relationships, the relationships that people have with each other. What's happening with those, and specifically what that has to do with soul tribes. Okay. And as you know, we've talked about soul tribes before. And people may have different definitions of what soul tribes are. Essentially, I think, when I think of a soul tribe, when I think of soul tribes, I just think of a group of people who gather together, who basically have these commonalities that, that bring them together. Okay, regardless of their background, what they look like, their socioeconomic status, this, that, and the third, there's something like essentially it's something spiritual that connects them together. They have various similar experiences as well. They have similar experiences that it's kind of like that binds them together, right? It's like you become members of like this family that you may not have been born into like physically, yet these people who you connect with on a soul level, on a spiritual level, essentially become your family. I truly believe that many of you are definitely part of my soul tribe. So this message is definitely for you. Whether you believe in soul tribes or not, you know that there are people whose experiences definitely, they parallel yours, and there is some sort of, divine intervention, something that some aspect of this person's life, essentially, it matches yours and it's in alignment with your path. It's almost like when you're soul tribes, right? When you're part of the same soul tribes, part of how I see it is that your paths basically are in alignment. Like you're essentially walking on a parallel path. You may not see each other, right? You and as I'm speaking, I'm getting this image of this movie that I saw in the theaters with what's her name? SZA. Okay, SZA played in a new movie with Keke Palmer, right? And then one of the scenes, they get upset with each other, right? They're upset with each other, and then they decide to go their separate ways. Yet their separate ways is essentially her walking on the left side of the street and SZA walking on the left side of the street and Keke walking on the right side of the street, and they're literally shadowing each other, following the same path. They're following the same path, yet they're on different sides of the street. So what does this mean in regards to like soul tribes? I think that example was just given to me because it shadows, or it gives a really good image of what it means to be part of the same tribe or the soul tribes, right? You may not be on the same side of the world. Okay, I know that many of you are following from, different countries, different continents, yet the experiences that are expressed or shown, many of you can relate to them because of like some soul connection that you have. Okay, so, and believe it or not, like, okay, so let's get into what, because I can go into the soul tribe thing, for quite a bit. But this is the message essentially that I received from not too long ago, actually. Okay, so the title of this message is Your Soul Tribe. Okay, your soul tribe is fighting too. That's what I got. Your soul tribe is fighting too. And what do you think it means? Okay, you can tell me in the comments what you think it means. I definitely see it meaning that the people who you have some sort of like soul connection to, whether this be like people that were born in the same family as you, or people that essentially, oh, sorry about that. People that essentially have the same connections, okay, with you. I think that message came the way it did because there's a lot of energies and, situations that may be trying those relationships at this time. Okay. So this is essentially why I think this message is important. Okay. Hold on. All right, y'all. Okay. So hopefully you're still there. Okay. So I want to make sure I gather my thoughts in what I was saying. Okay. So there's a lot of circumstances, whether it's internal or external, that may test those relationships at this time. There's a lot of things, energies, whether it is internal or external, that may test those relationships. Relationships that you intuitively know these folks are part of your soul tribe. You know intuitively that, hey, this person is part of my soul tribe. Like, that there's something that connects you to this person or these people. Yet there's a lot of energies out there that could be testing those relationships. And I do believe that this message came because of that, because we are all experiencing to some degree, to some level, something whether it is internal or external, that is testing those relationships. Okay? Those soul tribe relationships, those relationships that we know intuitively, we know wholeheartedly that these are folks that are part of our soul tribe. We know that a lot of those relationships are being tested. And so the title of this message, which is Your Soul Tribe is Fighting Too, I do believe that your spirit guides want you to know to be patient with the people that you're dealing with. Okay? To be patient with the relationships that are in your life. Because we've come kind of like, it kind of feels like we've come at a crossroads, so to speak, with regards to like just what relationships look like, if there's anything at all, where I'm thinking that's the right way to say it. We've come to a point where it almost seems like, because of the previous experiences, it almost seems like people are not supposed to want or need each other anymore. Right? It's this I don't give a what attitude. It's this, this person can go their way, I'll go my way kind of thing. Like, it almost seems like, people are more apt to reject each other, to dismiss one another, more so than actually take time and energy to work on those relationships. Now, that's not to say that there are circumstances where you know for a fact that there's these energies that are not serving your highest good, right? And it's definitely time to release them. What about those relationships that you know for a fact that, your spirit guides have brought these people into your life for a reason, to help you evolve? Should you be dismissing them too? And if we do have this dismiss them all attitude, if we really think about this, if we dismiss every single person that comes into our life, then what do you become? Okay? This essentially means that you may become someone that is alone or lonely for the rest of your life. And is that what your spirit guides want you to know? Were we just meant to be these people that are, hermits? To be lonely. And I really do think that there is some sort of energy, okay? Some sort of like energy or spirit of division, if you will, that is really kind of like trying to impose itself on relationships. Okay? To the point where people have become quite comfortable just being alone. Okay? Quite comfortable with being alone, not having anyone, to support them. And if we really think about that, what does humanity become if we, instead of embracing this communal aspect, right, that once our ancestors had, the people that came before us, they had it. If we don't embrace that, what does humanity essentially become if we are embracing more of an individualistic ideology, if we are embracing more of a I don't give a attitude, you can go your way, I'll go mine. If we're all embracing that energy, what does humanity essentially become? And I've talked about this before. I really feel like this energy or spirit of division that exists, it's there for a reason. And I would even say that it may have been there previously, yet I truly feel that that energy of division became a lot more prominent during, the pandemic era. That era where everyone was forced to to stay isolated, become isolated. It almost seems like whatever was happening out there, it impacted folks on many different levels. And I still, many of us still see that, humanity has not been the same since. So where do we go from here? That's the question. Where do we go from here? What do we do? What do we become cognizant of? How do we gain our consciousness back? How do we gain this energy of the collective, the soul tribe? And keep in mind that, the term soul tribe exists because I truly do, feel and believe that our spirit guides want us to focus on the spiritual aspect of relationships. That's why, this term soul tribe is important, because it reminds us of the spiritual aspect of what allows us to become a community, what makes us, what brings us together. When there are forces out there, all they tend to do is try to make us forget the energy of the collective, the energy of the soul tribe. I still believe that our spirit guides, the ones that, are there to preserve our humanity, wants to remind us to preserve the collective, okay? To maintain this energy of togetherness, regardless of the forces or energies that are trying to convince us to separate ourselves and isolate ourselves, right? It's almost like it's become normalized to be in isolation. Like whatever is happening on a spiritual level that we're seeing on a physical level, it's giving us this message, and sometimes it's subliminal. Actually, I would even say that most of the time it's subliminal. It's sending the message that it is normal to live in isolation. So what am I talking about? Right? How do we see this? What areas in our lives do we actually see this, where we can actually see examples of what is being talked about? If we think about just the way these new developments have allowed people now to, to stay home and not interact with the outside world, that's a perfect example. Folks would rather Netflix, and this is not an advertisement for them at all. Folks would rather Netflix and chill than to, step outside and be in nature and get fresh air. Right? So that's kind of like an example, if you will, of how we can see that there's some energy, some force that's trying to normalize, people to be in isolation. It's making it normal to live in isolation. And we get to ask ourselves the question, what does that mean? Like, many of us are so busy thinking about the right now and trying to deal with the day-to-day that we can't even fathom how what we're doing or not doing on a day-to-day is impacting, the future. Like, some folks will hear this message and they're like, I'm not thinking about, humanity or living in isolation. I'm trying to make sure I take care of the business that I need to take care of right now. Yet it's essential that we think about, the future, because if we don't do that, we may get some results that we weren't ready for. So just know that the people that are in your life that some of us may not have patience for because, they did X to us, they did Y to us, they did Z to us. And then it's like, we're so quick to dismiss them. Really consider, really internalize, how did you come to the point where you were so ready to dismiss folks, right? What types of um, subliminal messages, if you will? What types of, programming? Because I really do feel like there is some programming happening on a spiritual as well as a physical level. It's like we're being reprogrammed to be more robotic than human. And I've said this before. Okay. What type of programming have you been subjected to that has normalized it for you to live in isolation? So the people that are in your life, okay, the people that are part of your soul tribe, know that they are also fighting as well. They're fighting. As much as you are fighting, they're fighting as well. And they're fighting with various, like a number of different things. Like exactly that image that I got when I was thinking about the movie where the two ladies were walking down the same path but parallel, right? It's like they were upset at each other, yet it's like they were both experiencing things on an internal and external level. All right. So the people that are part of your soul tribes are fighting as much as you are fighting. They're fighting with various circumstances. They're fighting, for their families. They're fighting with things having to do with their finances. They're fighting with things having to do with, spirituality. So as much as we would like to just focus on ourselves and the things that we're experiencing, because a lot of times we can't see past our own experiences. We can only focus on, we have this tunnel vision, right? Where we're like, shh, I have too much stuff to deal with somebody else's stuff. But if you keep that mindset, you essentially are agreeing to some sort of like energy that's telling you, okay, it's like you don't need anyone, and you do. And you do, we do. I'm reminded of this song. What is it? Was it Barbara Streisand? She's like, people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Yeah, like, a lot of us are like, psh, I don't need them. I don't need them. I don't need this person. Psh, they could kick rocks. They looked at me wrong. They stepped on my Pumas. I don't need them. They didn't call me. I don't need them. That there was a point where we actually, acknowledge how much, people need each other. And we do. All right. So just know that your spirit guides have given you a soul tribe. You do have a soul tribe. People who are, in fact, a part of your soul tribe. There are some folks that are not part of that soul tribe. All right. Definitely that. Yet those who are, just know that your guides are working with them as much as they are with you. Okay, and that's something that we get to think about as we proceed forward in an effort to preserve the humanity, in an effort to preserve all that is natural, right? In an effort to preserve all that is natural instead of taking on all that is artificial. Because we are truly moving in a direction where these energies are trying to convince us to embrace all things artificial. So what are you doing to preserve all things natural? And I do feel that part of what reminds us of what is natural is our humanity, is our connection to one another. And definitely those soul tribe connections. It's some folks out there that have like literally lost it, y'all. Like seriously lost it because they've lost touch with their humanity. Like they've lost touch with what is natural. They're not able to be grounded anymore because they've lost touch with their humanity. So definitely make that effort, and conscious effort, to preserve, okay? To preserve first and foremost all that is natural within you, okay, and also to preserve what your spirit guides have deemed as being natural for you. All right, y'all. I'm going to end this live now. We'll definitely be back with some more discussions. Thank you all who joined the live, who commented, continue to like the live. And yeah, definitely preserve those soul tribe connections. All right, y'all. Peace, love, divine light.